Right now, after round 6 of the 2023 season, there is no team in the competition that is going better than the Pies at the moment. Sure, St Kilda might be higher on the ladder, but the way that Collingwood are playing their football, the way they carry themselves with class on the field, the way that Craig McRae and Darcy Moore are leading that team both on and off the field is showing a likeable side to the Pies that seemed impossible under an Eddie Maguire, Mick Malthouse and Nathan Buckley era. The Pies right now are genuinely flying. They've had 9 three-quarter time comeback wins in their last 12 games in which they've trailed at the final change, and we finally need to sit down and talk about it properly. What are the Pies doing that is so different to everyone else in the competition? How are they dismantling teams from no matter what position they are in the game? And can anyone really stop them in 2023? So just quickly, I know that this is a Collingwood video, but I just want to talk about Essendon just a little bit before we move on. The Bombers played probably the best game that they could have. If you had given the Essendon fans the first 3 quarters and gone, this is what you're going to do, all of them would have taken it and then some. They were playing some outstanding footy. They were taking the ball away from the Pies and they were punishing them on turnover. It was perfect. Well, what changed? I'm going to talk about that in just a tick, but let's look at the Pies overall as a whole. Now, they need the footy. It's as simple as that. They need the ball in their hands. And you might say, hey, every team needs the ball in their hands. That's very true. There are some quality over quantity style teams in the competition, though. Think of a team like Melbourne, who in that last quarter against Richmond didn't really need a whole lot of entries early to start hitting the scoreboard, and then they overpowered the Tigers in that way. Now, the Pies, you could argue, did the same against the Bombers, but they were able to score from clearance, ergo needing the ball in their hand in their forward half. Now, last year, Collingwood were one of the worst clearance teams in the competition, but not only that, they were one of the worst contested ball teams in the league. And while their clearance ranking is definitely higher than last year, it's not like they're world beaters at the moment, but their contested ball differential is. And that's the key. Guys like Tom Mitchell and Jack Crisp that are more than happy to get to the bottom of the pack and feed the ball out. Now, of course, some of their rushed kicks, if they're going high, are fine. You can create a contest. But the flatter that these panic kicks are causing, the worse off Collingwood are. And there were definitely times in that first half especially where Mitchell or Crisp were turning the ball over and Essendon were able to punish them. So if they are going to kick blindly out of a contest, make sure it goes up. Don't let it go flat. And you are golden. But the Pies right now, as you can see with the numbers, are kings of the footy. Their contested ball differential and their uncontested ball differential are both number 1 in the league. So if you're playing Collingwood and you've got the footy, do not turn it over. And you're probably thinking, wow, that's some genius analysis there, Daz. If only every other team knew that. And of course they know that. The Pies are just the best team at getting the footy. No matter what. No matter what scenario, no matter what point of the game, Collingwood, that ball, are colliding. And good luck stopping them. Now, that last quarter, Collingwood didn't really change much. Yes, they swarmed the Bombers, but that pressure that Essendon were under, they were doing to themselves. It wasn't all that Collingwood all of a sudden became one of the best teams in the competition. They did exactly what they were doing for the first 3 quarters, but what changed was they forced Essendon to deviate from their game plan. And that's kind of the secret here. Collingwood are playing their game style. Now, albeit in different gears, they went to another level in that last quarter. Not suggesting that they're taking it easy or going easy on the opposition or anything silly like that for the first 3 quarters. But the game obviously wasn't going their way. And like every team in the competition, they gave up momentum. Now, they got it back on the quarter-time siren when Jordan De Goey put through that goal. But in that 3rd quarter, especially when Stringer kicked that goal that put the Bombers 28 points up, they had no momentum, the Pies. And I almost feel sorry for the Bombers because that 3-quarter time siren was almost the nail in the coffin. Collingwood were able to take a breather. It then starts at 0-0. They're not going into the last quarter thinking we're 5 goals down, we've got to do this. It's even. If you kick one, a second will come, and yada, yada, yada. And Collingwood played their way, went up a gear, and Essendon couldn't handle it. And don't think I'm having to go at you Bombers fans, or the Bombers at all. No one else has been able to handle it either, pretty much for the last year and a bit. They were a point off a grand final. Please don't think I'm criticising you. But The Pies swarmed, they forced mistakes, and like every good team, punished Essendon on turnover and punished them around the stoppage. That's not groundbreaking, it's just what they did. But they did it better, for longer, and they forced teams to change their game plan. If Essendon did what they were doing for the first 3 quarters, they hang on and win the game. It's that simple. Again, easier said than done, and by no means am I suggesting I would be able to do it. That's not the point of this video at all. But that's the beauty in how Collingwood play, is when they go to another level, they don't change. They make you change, but they don't change. Essendon were blindly kicking around corners. They were trying to up the tempo and match the Pies to try and get back into the game on the scoreboard. They didn't need to do that. Big crowd, big pressure. Slow the game down, out of your back half, forward handball, kill the Pies on transition. It's what worked for 3 quarters, and they didn't do it. Young side, that's fine. But Collingwood took advantage of the fact that Essendon changed their game plan, went to the other level, and bang, got them. And once the damn wall broke, there is not a team in the competition that would have stopped them. That's the point. That's why they're so good. I don't care if it's Melbourne, I don't care if it's Geelong, I don't care if it's Sydney. Once Collingwood get in that mood, and they can smell blood in the water, you're gone. But the good news for Pies fans, we'll get back to the Pies fans here, because they were awesome on Anzac Day. I know people are going to be like, Collingwood are scumbags, yada, 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 and that's fine. The rivalry is great. But geez, that Collingwood chant on Anzac Day was outstanding. The other bit that Collingwood are able to do once they do get that footy, like we said, they're the best contested and uncontested differential teams in the competition, is they're able to take territory with that. That is the most important thing. You look at teams like Carlton, who are just chipping the ball backwards over the weekend, teams like Fremantle, who are doing the same thing. The Pies have the best inside 50 differential in the competition, and are the 3rd best team at taking more meterage than their opponents, averaging 400 metres more than their opponents. Now, if that was goal line to goal line, that is about 3 laps. 3 laps of the oval. That's insane. That for a 2-hour period, they are able to take 3 field lengths more than their opponents. And they're doing it by winning more contests than anyone else in the league. That's crazy. Now, you might be thinking, wow, how are they forcing turnovers? They got to be one of the best pressure teams in the competition, right? No, and they're not even that great a tackling team either. Now, sure, their tackle numbers, like last year, are up. But again, they're not world beaters in that. They're not even world beaters in pressure acts either. In fact, they're both below the AFL average. That seems insane. How are you not putting a lot of pressure on the opposition, but you're still able to win more of the footy? Well, if you look at that big stat, in one-on-one contests, Collingwood are only losing 1 in every 5. So whether they're forcing a turnover or they're trying to force a contest of their own, if you're not losing that contest, you're going to get more of the footy. Every other team in the competition is losing 21% or more of their one-on-one contests, and Collingwood are below 20. 2% doesn't sound like a lot, and I know it doesn't. But it's like winning by 3 shots in golf. It may not sound like a lot, but it's vital. It's insane. The fact that Darcy Moore sometimes gets caught out on the lead. Langford did it beautifully. Didn't make a difference. Not that much in the end, because in the last quarter, they went away from it. They didn't use Darcy Moore's man on the lead. They were able to neutralise the contest, and using that contested and uncontested style, they got the ball back. It's poetry in motion if you like your footy, and we all do. But that's nuts. It's genuinely crazy. I'm smiling. If it's not Adelaide, Collingwood are the best team to watch in the competition. They are golden. They are box office. It is crazy. So are they the best team in the competition? Yeah, and it's not close. And they don't have a key forward. Dan McStay is not playing as a traditional full forward. Now, he is playing as that beanpole who can create a contest, but he didn't play on the weekend. Darcy Cameron, one of the more improved ruckmen in the competition, didn't play. Mason Cox didn't even play. Billy Frampton was their number 1 ruck, who was awesome. And that leads me into my final point. Why Collingwood are the best team in the competition is their impact per possession by their non-superstars is through the roof. Through the absolute roof. Now, when you walk into a footy club like Craig McRae did, and you see Scott Pendlebury, Jordan De Goey, you get a Brownlow medalist in Tom Mitchell, Jack Crisp had won 2 best and fairests, You've got Jamie Elliott finally fully fit. You've got Darcy Moore, who stood in that leadership role and done beautifully. Jeremy Howe, who, yes, didn't play on the weekend, but again, that veteran leadership. That's a really good base to build from. But do you really think Collingwood would have won that game if it wasn't for Trey Rusco, Billy Frampton, Will Kelly as the sub was good, Bobby Hill had some moments, Bo McCreary was amazing. Find me a better sub 15 disposal game than that this year. It might have been Trey Rusco's, who was outstanding. But that's the point. That's what makes Craig McRae such a good coach. Their non-stars are playing excellently. Their non-stars aren't stars, but they are playing their roles to absolute perfection. Nathan Murphy didn't play on the weekend, but is another one. Every single soldier on this Collingwood list, and that's not to make any comparisons to the Anzac Day game or anything like that, but as Clarko famously said when coaching the Hawks, one soldier out, one soldier in. That's the Pies to a T. They don't have a full forward, they don't have a ruckman. That doesn't make sense. Neither do Richmond. They're going like a busted. Nank's out, Lynch is out. Compare that to Collingwood, and oh my god, I shouldn't be this happy. I'm not a Collingwood fan, I promise you. But this is the effect that they have as neutrals. I was going bunter. I don't barrack for Collingwood. I don't barrack for Essendon. Now, my neighbours 4 doors down that were singing the Collingwood theme song halfway through the last quarter, they're Collingwood fans, and I love them for it. But right now, and it might go stale if they win a flag or two, as every dynasty does, but right now, before they've won a flag, we've kind of just got to enjoy them. I understand if you hate Collingwood, no matter what generation you are. But right now, they are unbelievably likeable. And if you're a Collingwood fan, sit back, relax, and bloody enjoy it. This is crazy. But Collingwood are so far the best team in the competition right now. It's not funny at all. Melbourne is still up there. I understand that. The Saints, they've been awesome. I've still got faith in Geelong. And the South Australian teams are going beautifully as well. But it's Collingwood for me and honestly daylight. And they're a joy to watch. And I'm happy that I can. So that's it, guys. What do you think? Comment below. Let me know. How are you feeling about the Pies, whether you're a Pies fan or not? Are they your premiership favourite? Do you think Nick Dacos wins the Brownlow medal after his Anzac Day performance? If you want to check out my Brownlow votes for that game and every game, the Brownlow brief for round 6 has just dropped with an updated top 10 leaderboard. You can find that at patreon.com/DazTalksFooty and become a premiership player today. If you'd like to support the channel in just a small way, you can become an All-Australian for $2.99 a month. Just $3, guys. And that goes a long way. Thank you so much for watching. Like the video if you like the video. Subscribe to join the Daz Talks Footy family. Enjoy your week. I'll see you on Friday night. Goodbye.